People will ask all the time, like, I'm scared to see a chiropractor. I'm like, maybe you should be.
I experienced this firsthand. So when my son was a baby, he was having ear infections over and over, and I was at my sister's house and her neighbor was over, and I was just complaining about his ear infection again. And he was maybe like 8 months, and she was like, hey, I'm a chiropractor and I work on children. I think I should do an adjustment on him. She did an adjustment and he never had an ear infection again.
That's awesome.
Just in my sister's living room. I'm like, that's amazing. I didn't even think about that. Today on ASAP Unfiltered, I have Dylan Crawford, owner of Troutman Chiropractic.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming in here.
Thank you for having me.
I don't want to introduce you too much because I want you to talk a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay,
Do you want
fair
to just
enough.
jump right into it?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a chiropractor in Troutman. I have been born and raised in Troutman. And so when
Real
I
quick,
was...
those who don't know where Troutman is, can we explain?
Absolutely.
It's a suburb of Charlotte.
Yes.
North of Charlotte. Okay.
When I was in school, everybody said, where are you from? And I said, Charlotte.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
We're about
Okay.
40 minutes north of Charlotte. And then if you know the area better, I always say I'm between Statesville and Mooresville.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in that area. When I was growing up, it was very hometown feel. And it still is, don't get me wrong. But it was I don't know, 3 stoplights or whatever it was at the time. And I love it to death, seeing the advancements of where Troutman's going. People ask me all the time, like, what do you feel about Troutman and all the growth? Because there's houses everywhere popping up.
Mm-hmm.
And from a hometown boy, I'm like, man, there goes my town. And then from a growth perspective and owning a business, it's like there's never been a better opportunity.
Right.
And I love it, and I love meeting new people, and I love all of that. And so I freaking love talking. and so that's another thing that I get the opportunity to reach out and kind of get involved and connected with new people that I never thought I would. And so I've loved that. I grew up within this office that I'm in now. It was a different chiropractic clinic as I was growing up.
Oh, okay.
And so I was an employee there, and I was employed there for, let's call it 7 years. I go to chiropractic school, obviously, and I was gone for even some of this time I was there. I was still working. And so when I came back and worked there for a year as a doctor, and kind of got an opportunity to kind of spread my wings a little bit and fly a little more. And I worked down in Shelby down for Brad Moffitt at a place called Carolina Chiropractic Plus, and they were phenomenal. And at that point, I fell in love with what I was doing again. And it showed me that I had the opportunity to help people and to have fun and just enjoy work from a day in and day out perspective, or day in and day out life. And I enjoyed the hell out of it, to be honest. And so when this opportunity arose for me to kind of have my homecoming, if you will, I jumped all over it, and I have enjoyed it so much. It's been such a blessing. And so it's been fun.
Cool. And you guys are like newly open-ish, right?
Yes.
Like how
Yeah,
long have you been
February
open?
2nd was day one.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
brand new.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Just over the 6-7 month mark now. Didn't
Cool.
mean to do that, but
I don't even know what it means. I don't.
Same.
Okay. So you're like a brand new business owner.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you
Yes,
liking
ma'am.
that so far?
I love it. If you ask me day one, I say this all the time. If you ask me day one, if I had it figured out, I'd say without a doubt. If you ask me at the end of the week, I'd say I got my teeth kicked in. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, you can prepare and study and learn, and then you still don't got it figured out until you kind of get your teeth kicked in.
Mhm.
And it was great though. I mean, everything about, every new lesson I'm learning, as long as I don't repeat that same thing, I'm okay. There's somebody helped me along the way in respect to credentialing, because you have to get a network with all of your insurance providers. Do you take Aetna? Do you take Blue Cross? Do you take, Cigna, United Healthcare? The list goes on and on. But you have to get a network with all of them. And one of the ladies that was helping me with my credentialing, I was like, uh-oh, Sherry, I messed up. And she's like, Dylan, there's nothing you can screw up on that I can't fix. And I was like, oh my God. And there's so much security in knowing that, you know? And so one of the ladies that helps me, her name's Angie. And I told her one of the early days, I was like, don't worry, there's nothing you can screw up that we can't fix, And so she tells me all the time, she's like, remember, Dylan, you told me you can't fix it.
Yeah. I mean, almost everything is figure outable.
Absolutely. Almost everything.
So how many people do you have on your team? And are you the only chiropractor?
I am the only chiropractor.
Okay.
I'm the only chiropractor. There's Jamie, who is absolutely phenomenal. She is, I always joke and say that she's the face of the place. I mean, she is absolutely phenomenal. So she's front desk, she's office manager. She does all insurance verification. She does it all, you know, helps with patient care in some respects. And then Angie helps me vast majority on Thursdays, because frankly, that's my busiest day. And so Angie will help me more on Thursdays, and she worked with me years ago when I was the other clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to, she's plug and play. You know, she came in the office one day and she was like, Dylan, I just want you to know if you ever need help, just ask. And I'll be happy to do it. And she's like, I'll look at it like I'm serving a church. You don't even got to pay me. Yeah, I was like, the way she like did it. And I was like, Angie, no. If you're here, you're going to see your value. You know, you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
And so she started like, I don't know, a week or two after that, you know, when I started to have some degree of need.
Yeah.
And because we've had growth, you know, which has been such a blessing and it's fun. But having her in there is just so plug and play. And the patients from the past that are in there,
Yeah,
they see her,
nice.
and it's like a homecoming for her too. You know, the patients come up and hug her and love on her just like I did, you know. And so it's really cool to have both of them in there.
Yeah.
And then Haley, my wife, helps me. She's so much behind the scenes. There is nothing that goes on in the practice that she doesn't necessarily know about, but she isn't your day-to-day keep up person. She still works, you know, she's a dental hygienist over in Mooresville as well. And so it's been phenomenal having her. She plays the largest role in the social media aspects, and she holds me accountable to a large degree. It's been really good though. And so,
a lot of people don't like working with their spouse.
Yeah.
And they say it causes fights, but I like working with my spouse,
Right.
but I mean, it's not for everybody.
Absolutely. And we have our very large separation, you know.
That's true.
You have to have that delineated from the get, in my opinion. You know, I mean, for us, she does not control the bank account side of it, or and I don't tell her what to do in respect to any of social media. I do what you say for that, and you do what I say for this, and we have our own courses. And
I think that's important too. It's like everyone's good at something, but also like
absolutely,
we don't want to be at the point where we're arguing about something.
Absolutely,
silly, so.
Something simple.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you may have kind of already answered this, but like, why did you choose Troutman, which is a small town? It's small to me. Like, I'm from Phoenix, so I'm like, this is a small town. And then I meet people like you, and you're like, it's booming. I'm like,
huge,
okay. But like, why did you choose that over Charlotte or somewhere more, you know, busy?
Troutman's just home, you know. And so when I went to school in Atlanta, or right outside of.
Okay.
And then when I worked down in Shelby, Shelby's a very small area too. I equate it more to Statesville in a way, in a lot of respects. But the thing about that practice was I was able to see that even in a smaller town like Troutman or Shelby, that you can thrive, you know. And I don't mean like in a sense of even monetary. I mean in a sense of you can help a lot of people, because it may sound cliche, but money is a byproduct of success for us. You know, my ultimate goal is to help as many people as possible and do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, one of my biggest pet peeves is something like ever overscheduling or booking or something is I don't want to give somebody a service that's less than what I would consider to be my standard, you know? And so whenever I see like a patient and I feel like I had to rush out of that room, I'm like, all right, well, let's make a change on this next time so that they don't get short. You know what I mean? I want everybody to get what is truly my standard, because if you don't have a standard, you can't replicate it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a good point, because I've been to chiropractors, like I was telling you, like I kind of only go when it's an emergency. So whatever. So I've been to a lot of different chiropractors whenever they could fit me in, but I have had that experience where it's like you're being rushed in and out. You're spending more time sitting, like waiting to be seen. They pop in, crack whatever, and then they're out. And I'm like, you didn't even ask like what happened or how I can prevent this in the future.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
Sounds like your practice is different than that. I haven't been there myself.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, and I try to make that feel that way, you know, because that is a common, you know, that's a common issue that a lot of people have when they come in the office. They're like, yeah, this guy or girl, you know, just saw me and I felt like they were adjusting before they even shook my hand, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be the case or the feel, not to jump ahead or in respect to any of my thoughts, but people will ask all the time, like, I'm scared to see a chiropractor or I'm scared for the side of it. I'm like, maybe you should be, you know, in all seriousness. Like, I want you to make sure that you are a chiropractic candidate before you're a chiropractic patient. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are reasons to why you shouldn't be adjusted. I want to find out that you don't have one of those reasons before I go and adjust you. If you go through a series of examinations, x-rays, whatever may be necessary, and we find out that you shouldn't be a patient, you shouldn't be a patient, you know? And I'm more than,
In what scenarios do you say you shouldn't be a patient?
yeah, so let's say you have history of stroke, or let's say
Okay.
you have just any kind of like vascular issues in that way, especially, you know, within the neck region. And there are reasons as well to where I can't adjust a single segment, but I can do the rest of the spine, you know? Let's say your whole low back is fused, and which happens, you know? I can't adjust your low back anymore because what am I going to move? You know, I'm not going to move that metal. And so I can do anything above that, right? Unless you don't have another, what's called a contraindication for me doing that. And
Okay.
so, yeah, those are,
That makes sense.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to ask a random question because I just
Yeah.
thought of it. Erin and I, the other girl who does this podcast,
Yeah.
we're driving to Georgia a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how like our back always hurts because we're over 30 and that just happens, I guess. And we were like, wait a minute, like I've stopped being able to crack my own back
Yeah.
like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Why does that happen as we get older? Because she said the
Yeah.
same thing, and I was like, because my daughter, I always see her cracking her back, and I'm so jealous. But
Yeah.
why
So-
does that just go away as you get older? The ability to do that yourself.
Some of it is lack of motion within specific joints. Okay. And so let's say, for instance, you were able to, all right, I'm going to use an example of your neck. Okay. You have 7 segments in your neck, C1 through 7, and then occiput. Okay. But let's say you can go like that, and at least you could, and you could pull your head down or whatever, and you hear 3, 4, 5 clicks, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's say that you got 3, 4, or 5 segments that relatively moved, or it could be what's called a muscular fixation, where the muscle itself is what you're hearing pop, not necessarily the bone, right?
Okay.
And so people commonly will think like, oh, I can pop my back and I can move all my bones in this way, or they'll use the term I self-adjust a lot, right?
Okay.
Okay. And so those phrases and those things are, it's not always the same, right? And so let's say, for instance, you do move 2 segments when you do that. It doesn't necessarily mean that the one that was the issue was the one that you moved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you kind of still feel like you need to do it again, or you need to do something different because the one that was actually bothering you wasn't really the issue to begin with. Secondarily, to add to that is through time and through injuries and sports, etc., you start to develop like scar tissue, and it starts to prevent, you know, ease of motion and movement of your segments in your spine. So if that scar tissue is allowed to grow and develop and to adhere to larger and larger spots, then your motion is decreased, right? I mean, if you can bend down, touch your toes today, and you can't do it in 40 years, and there's a lot of issues that are preventing that from happening.
Okay.
And so that is one of the main reasons as to why that will occur.
Just getting old, I guess.
You don't look Grace though, and that's all that matters.
Okay, that was a side tangent as usual. What's been the biggest surprise about business ownership so far?
That's a good question. I would say the biggest surprise has been, oddly enough, freedom. And I know that's a weird answer, but the ability to create my own duties and roles and then have to make my own plan and strategies to do them, I guess is a weird way to say it.
Okay.
So for instance, Wednesday afternoons I'm closed, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not working. Wednesday afternoons is my like administrative time to where I'm catching up on documentation notes. I'm sending out, you know, papers and referrals. I'm buttoning up things, sending things out to lawyers, talking to things like that. That is my Wednesday afternoon. And so initially I was closed Wednesday afternoon and was like, okay, what do I do? And now that the 6 or 7 months has passed, now I'm like, okay, now all these things are falling on my plates, and now it's starting to roll over into what am I doing Fridays?
Yeah.
Because I'm closed Friday at 12 as well.
Okay.
And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm still here a little bit longer after, you know, whereas it used to be, you could kind of lock up shop and run next door to bottles and tabs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been one of the big things to me that has been learning or growing curve of ownership, because I'll be honest with you, I haven't been through my first year of like tax season yet and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing as well that I feel like I'm going to learn big toward the end of the year is what are some plan strategies that I did or should have been doing along the way that I'm going to learn, you know, and so I'm trying to just better prepare myself for that now, but who knows what
It's always going to be changing. I mean, you're
Yes,
always going to be
exactly.
learning.
Can't plan.
I think that's a common like misconception too. Like when you say freedom, like
Yeah.
everyone thinks that business ownership is freedom.
my
I'm
God, yeah.
like, it's actually the opposite. Every night, every weekend, every
Yeah.
holiday,
Yep.
you know, but that's okay. I like doing
That's right.
that,
It's exactly right.
but
Yeah.
it's certainly not freedom.
Yep. You're exactly right. The second I don't love what I'm doing, I will stop responding to people and things of that nature, but I love it, you know?
Yeah.
And so like on the way here, I was, you know, calling patients and things of that nature because it matters, you know? And I, again, I love doing it, you know, making those personal connections with a patient. I don't want anybody to feel like they were just a patient of mine. I want them to feel like they're a friend, you know, because everybody, it's so weird. I feel like chiropractors are so strange in this way. And I put myself into the same box that patients commonly will come in, yeah, I had a friend that was a chiropractor in Jersey, or I had a friend that was a chiropractor, and they never say I used to have a chiropractor. They always had a friend that was a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And so, in my goal, I always strive to be that, is that I want these people to move somewhere else when they do and say, I had a friend that was a chiropractor in Troutman, you know, because that, I don't know, that's just my ultimate goal, is I don't want it to feel like a business transaction or anything in that way.
Yeah.
I want to help my friends in my community.
Yeah. And that's going to make sure you get referrals and
Right.
keep the business side flowing.
Right.
Okay. We were reading through your reviews and stuff. That's where I get this question. But patients consistently mention that you take your time and explain everything. We mentioned it a little bit, but why is that such an important part of your practice?
Yeah. Getting to know somebody is imperative to me. And part of that is, if you don't know somebody's why for walking in the office, then you're never going to know what they subjectively choose as their completion of care. If somebody comes in and they can't pick their granddaughter up, and they come in and they just say, I got low back pain, if I were to just take them straight to the table and after exams or whatever and start working on them, and they come in the next week, I'm a little better, I'm a little better, I'm a little bit this, that, and the other, whatever, it doesn't matter to me as much as if I say, like, can you pick up little Susie? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you can pick them up, then that's the biggest win in the world to me, because it's a win to them.
Yeah.
And if you're not there to listen to them and find out their whys, then in my opinion, you're kind of shortchanging the patient. And that's what I was saying initially earlier, is that I don't want to give somebody less than standard care. And so I always want to make sure that a patient is completely heard, because I would want to be heard as a patient in an office, and I'm not going to give somebody less than what I feel like I would give or what I would get.
Okay. I love that. Okay. If someone has never been to a chiropractor because they're nervous or skeptical, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So again, I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
And that's should I go to a chiropractor? Or the answer is yes, always. You know, in my head, like, who shouldn't go to a chiropractor? Nobody should raise their hand. But at the same time, it's like, when somebody asks me, should I go to a chiropractor for this or that? And I'll say, you know, evaluate it to determine if you need to be seen by a chiropractor for this, because I'm the ultimate person of, if I'm not the right person for you, or if I'm not the right profession for you, we might give it a 1-3 handful of visits, whatever, and then I'll say, all right, I'm not your guy. Where can I send you? You know, and that's where I want to be there for you, as almost as your primary care provider, because I want to refer you to the right spot, instead of me just saying, all right, well, let's try this instead. Let's try this instead. And us just, you know, throwing darts at the board. Now, that being said, I'm not giving up on anybody. You know, if somebody's like, well, I want to continue coming in co-care with somebody else, let's do it, you know? But at the same time, if somebody's super scared about chiropractic, to be honest with you, sometimes I double down. I'll say, you know what, you should be. And let's get in and let's look at your x-rays and let's tell you if you should be scared. And if I tell you you shouldn't be scared, know that I have thoroughly gone through your x-rays and I've determined that there is no reason you should be scared whatsoever. And then I'll still walk you through it slowly, because my ultimate goal is not to scare you out of a room. You know, the last thing I want to do is to make a patient feel uncomfortable in a chiropractic office, for one. And that is always one of my first questions. Have you ever been to a chiropractor before? And then I follow that up with, what did they do with you? And the reason I typically will say that is because there's a reason you're in my office. You either are there because you moved and you want to come to a new chiropractor and you want exactly what they did replicated with me, and I'll try.
Yeah.
Because if you were happy with that product, then I'm going to make sure I can replicate that product. And then if you were unhappy and you came to me for that reason, then I don't want to replicate the same thing the last guy or girl did, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you what you need as an individual. And I'll be honest with you, I will tell you too, I don't love what I'll tell people too, I don't love that you didn't get that or that you did get that, but I'm going to give you what you need. And if that's not something that aligns with you, then by all means, I'll help you find somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you see a lot of people that have never been to a chiropractor before?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
I remember going as a child. So like
Right.
or not a child, but like in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's always been a part of my life, but
Right. Well,
I thought it was just a common thing for adults to go see a
absolutely.
chiropractor.
It's so weird to me how many people that I've seen over 60 or 70 years old who have never been to one, you know, and that's what's so
Okay.
weird to me. But what's cool is seeing the young moms who bring their babies in now.
I was gonna ask if you do that.
Absolutely. I do.
Okay.
I've got many handfuls of pregnant moms right now that are coming in too. And then I've got a lot of, I'm trying to think of the youngest baby right now, probably 6 weeks or so right now.
Okay.
Well, around that about right now, which has been really fun. And it's so different. People are like, oh my God, he rips a baby's head. No, it's so much easier
No.
with a baby than what you would do with somebody who's your my age, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of, I mean, to me, it's like there's certain people that are into like Western medicine and they're
Right.
like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
crazy to send your baby to a
Yeah.
chiropractor.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of that. I don't really like Western medicine,
Right.
but
Right.
I like experienced this firsthand. So when my son was a baby, he was having ear infections
Okay.
over and over, and I was at
Yeah.
my sister's house and her neighbor was over, and I was just complaining about his ear infection again.
Right.
And he was maybe like 8 months, and she was like, "Hey, like I'm a chiropractor and I work on children.
That's cool.
I think I should do an adjustment on him because, you know,
Mm.
you can probably explain this better
Yeah.
than me,
Yeah.
but she was basically saying that during like the birthing process,
Yeah.
something can happen, cause, you know, ear
Right.
infections, and a lot of babies just need adjusted,
Right.
but doctors just like to prescribe
Right.
medications and
Right.
antibiotics. So anyway, she did an adjustment and he never had an ear infection
That's
again.
awesome. That's
Like
awesome.
just in my sister's living room. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's
I didn't
cool.
even think about that. But
Yeah.
doctors, when you go to like
Yeah.
pediatrician, they don't even bring that up.
Yeah. Most of the time not. And I love one of my favorite things to do is make connections with other doctors, you know,
Yeah.
and other like primary care providers and stuff in the area. And the reason is because I feel that we all have a time and a place, you know. There are patients that will come in my office and that's the first thing I'll tell them to do is, hey, you need to go get a dose pack. You need some steroids. I feel like
Yeah.
you need me, but you don't need me till next week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You
And
need to sort of
that's right. And sometimes that's the right thing to do, you know. And then the other side of it is, you know, like you were talking about, is the birthing process is very hard on you. The birthing process is extremely hard on baby, right? I mean, yes, you're going through the delivery process, but so is baby on the other end. And so you got to remember that baby is coming out of that same diamond or hole that you're trying to push baby through.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, there's a lot of twisting, pulling. I mean, it's a gruesome process. And then when baby pops out, you just expect them to be completely healthy and, you know,
Yeah.
worry free. And sometimes it is something as simple as, in the neck or something like that. But a lot of the times too, there's that time and a place where it is they need to get tubes or they need things of that nature too. And I'm not opposed to it when it's necessary, you know.
Yeah.
But in your particular case, it wasn't. And so thank God for that chiropractor because they were able to.
Yeah. I would have
kinda
never
handle it
known. I would
without.
have probably ended up getting tubes or
Right.
whatever they
Right.
recommended because I didn't know any better.
Exactly right. And
But
again,
that's
there's a time and a
interesting.
place. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. You should do educational content around that because I think that's a lot of people just don't think
Yeah.
about bringing their baby to the
Absolutely.
chiropractor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Not that I'm telling you what to do, but you know.
I love it. I love it.
So, as a small business owner, how important has community been, like the community support of Troutman?
It's everything. It's
Yeah.
honestly everything. I can think of the first day that I opened, one of my lifelong friends, her parents, I ran into them at Burritos and Ribs over in Troutman. And we were eating lunch, and I saw her parents over there, and we got back from lunch and had the rest of the day. And day two, I come in, and there was a flower delivery, and it was
Aw.
from them. And they were like, congratulations, and we wish you the best on your successes and lucks. And that kind of stuff matters so much to me, just because, like, I mean, like Troutman PD coming in and just like constantly checking and talking And then you've got like they had Troutman Night Out a few weeks ago. And so, or whatever it's called, something like that.
I don't even know.
We had that a few weeks back, and it was great just getting to like shake hands and, introduce yourself and talk with people that I've never met, because again, that's my favorite thing in the world. And so I think that the community itself is still very small. And I even think that people are moving into the community are trying to get into a small community. You know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
it being like, I'm from Long Island or New York or Pennsylvania or whatever, and moving in here, and they're like trying to be themselves or try to find other New Yorkers or Ohio or whatever.
Yeah.
They want to be here, and most of the time I'm like, why did you move down from New York? And they're like, because it's New York.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're looking for the sweet, like, comfort of the South. And I feel like Troutman epitomizes that.
Yeah. I agree. I live in Troutman too.
Yeah.
For people who like are listening and didn't
Yeah.
get that, pick up on that.
Absolutely.
I love Troutman too. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's not where I'm from. So to me, it's like
Right.
small town, and like I actually do see people I know all the time, and
Absolutely.
I can imagine you know everybody in town
Right.
at this point.
It's great.
But
It's great.
it's kind of cool because like
Yeah.
that never happens in
Absolutely.
big towns.
And
so.
it's so cool hearing from patients that were there when I was a assistant. And so you're talking, 10 years ago or
Yeah.
better now, and they'll see me and they're like, Dylan, thank you so much for coming back to this community. And I'm like, I love hearing that
Yeah,
because
that's awesome.
my favorite thing in the world is to come back and to see your face because I love this town and I love those people, and so I want to continue taking care of them forever.
So cool. Okay. What's one thing you hope every patient says after they leave your office?
Can't wait to go back. Yeah, can't wait to go back. That is without a doubt one of my goals is I want everybody to be walking out, checking out with Jamie, Angie, whatever, and saying like, all right, when can I get back in? Instead of us pushing that and being like, all right, let's get you back on this day. I want you to be like, all right, I'm coming back on September you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want that so much because I want you to enjoy your visit there enough to where you want to be able to come back. And I want you to get as much out of it as you put in, At the end of the day, I'm not the forcible chiropractor. I'm not the guy that is gonna. I know you mentioned earlier about like treatment plans and things of those natures. Yes and no. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the guy that is ever gonna tell somebody this is what you have to do or get out.
Yeah.
This is what is best recommended to you. This is what you can do. You know what I mean? And if your life schedule, I know your life is as busy as can be, and like you said, it's difficult for you to get in. Well, I'll work with you. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I feel kind of sets me aside in one way is that I try to make myself as available and as accessible to somebody as possible. But at the same time, I understand life and I understand how busy people get and I'll work with you, instead of like pushing you out if you don't do it by my rules,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I am on that.
Yeah, I think I need like a mobile chiropractor. I just want all of my like, I guess you're not a vendor. Like I want all the people, like my nail person, my hair person, just come to my house. But is that a thing, mobile chiropractor? Because it should be.
If I'm not mistaken, when I was in Lincolnton, there was one. I don't know the answer to that though. I'm not sure.
Okay, just wondering. Okay, I think I'm gonna jump into these rapid fire questions. Are
Okay.
you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Coffee or energy drinks? If you do caffeine.
I'm gonna say coffee.
Okay. What's the best stretch that someone can do themselves?
Hamstring
Hamstring.
stretches. So like
Okay.
putting your leg up onto something, bending into it, things like that.
That stretches your back.
It stretches your low back and your hamstrings, and people don't attribute low back pain to hamstrings as much as they should. Your psoas and your hamstrings are attributed to like 70% of low back pain.
Oh,
If you
okay.
can loosen those muscles and you actually can loosen them instead of just like bending forward and acting like you're doing something, then you can decrease a lot of low back pain. Right?
Okay, good to know. What do you see more, neck pain or low back pain?
Neck pain and headaches.
Yeah, okay. What is the most overrated health trend right now? Do you see anything in your community that's like, ugh, don't do that when you see it online or something?
I wish that I could think of one immediately. Of course, when you say a health trend, the first thing that pops in the head is GLPs. And that's such a laundry list of questions that follow that I'm not 100% certain.
What's your stance on that?
I
Is it-
personally think that in certain scenarios they're great. And in certain scenarios I think they're overutilized. I know that's like a very gray answer. That's about as political as it can be. But the reason I say that is because let's say somebody has such hip issues, they need surgery so bad, but they can't lose the 50 pounds to make it happen. And they can't exercise because it hurts so bad. And so how are they supposed to lose that weight aside from just sitting on the couch and starving themselves? Well,
Yeah.
in that scenario, I think it's the right thing to do. You need to lose the weight in order to make sure that you can go have your surgery so that you can exercise, that you see you don't need them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in the other realm is somebody that looks in the mirror and says, I look 10 pounds heavier than I want to, and I just don't want to go to the gym. That's a bit of a different story.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you weren't a chiropractor, what else would you be doing?
Oh man. I'm great at rapid fire, aren't I?
Rapid.
Yeah, exactly. What would I be doing?
Fisherman?
No, that'd be
Is that why there's a
that'd
fish
probably be
on
my
your...
brother. Yeah, exactly. There's a patient that comes in, she calls me Dr. Fish. I think it's the cutest thing in the world. She's
Dr. Fish.
she's like 6, I think. And I'm probably gonna catch crap for that because she's probably like 12. If I was doing anything else, believe it or not, I've always loved, like, this is gonna sound so stupid, like software related things. And so it wouldn't
Oh,
surprise
you're
me.
nerdy?
A little bit. Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit. Like that's AI stuff, like I'm eating it up because I love
Yeah.
coding and
Are
I
you
love
using
things
it
like
in your
that.
business?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And the reason I use a lot of it is not for patient related things ever, except for, some of the social media stuff. Haley, will help utilize it with some of that, just creating the images and things of that nature. But when it gets to like, I use it more for like visit analysis, or I'll use it to, frankly, I'll go back and audit myself on things. A lot of that stuff I find is important. I'll use it for like some of the website creativity. I'll use it for some of those things. Just I'll tell AI to go into my website and say, find me 3 things that are missing from my site. And there was one day that I did it and I didn't know I didn't even have my hours on there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
it'll
like
catch
stuff
it.
like that's important. And
Yeah.
so I use it almost day to day in some of
Mhm.
those things.
Yeah, I think it's necessary. You have
Yeah.
to. But of course, don't put your patient information in there.
Right.
Okay, what's your favorite local restaurant?
Honestly, probably Wagner Street Bistro or
Yeah, that's
Pellegrino's.
Pellegrino's. I don't
Yeah.
like that place.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
It's like service food. I've never been
Okay.
happy.
Really?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them as people too. And I think that's part of it. I love that place. And then Wagner Street Bistro is, man, it's so good.
It's good.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
And
The
it's
only
new.
knock
It
I
could
have,
be bigger in
yes,
size.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I've got 2 knocks on them. One of them is the size, and I'm so thankful for them for that because I'm glad that they have that problem. I would rather it be that than the opposite. I wish that outside area was like enclosed and cooled or something. And then this wintertime, I'm sure I wish it was enclosed and heated.
Yeah.
But another thing, pet peeve, is I wish they would go up on their prices by 25 cents on everything and not charge for ranch.
Ranch. Oh,
Yes.
I'm not a ranch person, so I don't know. I don't
Okay.
like the drink situation.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I drink a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to have to
Go
buy.
back to.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
have to buy 2
Yeah.
of them.
I usually get a water there, so I normally don't have that issue. But yeah, you're right. But I love them again for their local feel.
Yeah.
Like you walk in the door and it's like they know me. I know that, you know what I mean? Like that whole strip has
And
really
that's right
grown.
across the you can just walk
Yeah,
over there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so Fridays, what Haley and I will sometimes do is we'll walk over there because she works with me on Fridays. And so we'll walk over there and grab lunch and we'll take it over to Bottles and Taps and grab a beer and eat,
There
because
you
we're
go.
done at 12.
Off the clock.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Awesome. What is one word that describes Troutman Chiropractic?
I'd say passionate in patient care, and then passionate in just in getting involved in community, and then just seeing outcomes for people and buying into what people want for themselves.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that word. Okay, that's all the rapid fire I have.
Cool.
Not very rapid, but it's okay.
Yeah,
So if someone is in the area, wants to go try out Troutman Chiropractic, what's the best way they should do that?
So you can either book online,
Okay.
you can go to troutmanchiropractic.com, or you can call the phone number 704-528-9119, and probably going to meet your best friend on the phone, which is Jamie. She is the biggest people's person I've ever met in my life. It is unreal to me. I always say that, like, my calling in life is helping people and like finding their whys and things of that nature. And Jamie's is connection. It's amazing to me. She will look ahead on the schedule the day before and she'll say, oh man, this person right here just had a loss in their family, or this person right here, it's their birthday. And so she'll go out to her garden at home, pick them flowers, and she'll give them a jar of flowers when they walk in. I mean, like things like
Yeah,
that.
sounds like you have a great team.
Oh my God, unreal, unreal, absolutely.
You haven't been blessed with bad employees yet.
Not yet.
That's when it gets stressful.
That's exactly right. And that's one thing, frankly, I fear. I'm not a confrontational person. Anybody that knows me knows that. I avoid confrontation almost at all costs. And so that's one thing that I worry about in future is ever having to have that conversation.
It's tough. Yeah.
I bet so, honestly. And I hope and pray I never have that. But
Well, when you do, call me. I have a ton of experience. I'll be the bad guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in. This
Absolutely.
was fun. I'll
Thank you
have
for
to meet
having
again
me.
in like a year and
Yeah.
hear your business feedback.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.